Hope you're great. I need music. I'm doing a song a day challenge with the goal to drop a song a day until the end of the year. I drop 7 songs every Friday 7 songs. So link in the description. Link in the description if you want to check that out. Link in the description if you want to check that out. Link in the description if you want to check that out. Link in the description if you want to check that out. Yeah. I'm watching this Japanese drama. What is it called? Kekkon dekinai otoko. Kekkon dekinai otoko. What is it? I think it translates to the man who can't get married or something. Good show. I'm enjoying it. Oh, after this, I'm gonna make custard and then watch another episode. I got this powder custard. I put honey and sugar. It makes it taste delightful. I wish I had like some sort of treat to eat it with. There's a baby outside. Baby. I think the baby's crying. Should I let it slide or should I pause and wait for the baby to leave? I think it's fine. I don't even know if the baby's crying. I think she's just making weird noises. She doesn't sound sad. She's just making noises. I was talking to this lady about kids and how I want to have girls someday. And then she was talking about how sometimes people just want sons. And then she was like, women have a place in the world too. And I was like, shame, man. Like, do you feel like... I think she sometimes feels like society doesn't value women. And... I can relate in terms of like, sometimes I think black people can be very insecure, so we can feel like, oh, no one values black people and no one wants black people around and all these sort of things. So I can understand the perspective of a woman being like, society doesn't value women and she has to like validate the existence of women. But I think, a lot of people value women. I think there's so many things women do that men just can't. If women weren't around, everything would collapse because men are crazy and we're violent and we're overrepresented in jail and we're overrepresented in the statistics for violent crime and all sorts of crazy things. Women quite literally civilize men, and you give us a reason to strive. When I think about becoming responsible, getting strong, acquiring wealth, and all these sorts of things, if it wasn't to get married, I don't know why I would do it. Honestly. Imagine I hit myself in the face with this, that'd be very painful. If it wasn't to acquire a wife, I'll be like, what's the point? I don't want to impress these other dudes. let's just assume like my mom is the only woman in the world or something. God, oh, that would be crazy. But I don't know. Let's just assume that she's still there. But for some reason, I can't get married, or it's just not an option, whatever the case may be. There'd be no reason to strive. I mean, I guess there would be. Like, I want to be an artist, I want to be this, but it's such a huge driving factor is being the man that a woman would be proud of. Like, you know? So women, like they give men something to strive for, like a reason to get out of bed and be better. And besides just that, obviously you literally make humans and push them out. So that's an important thing. And then you nurture them and you grow them. It's such an important job, and I think these days the things young girls get taught are important aren't that important. So career, sex, all this sort of stuff. So it's like all the things that men for a long time have been postulating as great, women are starting, not like with the feminism movement, women are like, that's what we want for ourselves as well, which is literally just, you're just becoming men. You're just becoming those douchey corporate men. You know, those guys, the corporate jobs and the money and the flashy cars and this and that and the very promiscuous and non-committal and the douchebags. I feel like women are becoming that through feminism. Where it's like, there's so much value in traditional femininity. You can't replace that, you know. We need the nurturers. With preschools, the majority of those jobs go to women, right? The people that work in the preschools. Imagine a preschool just full of men. You would never send your child there. It's weird. The concept of a preschool just men. It's not a natural role for men. And you'd just be questioning the motives of the men. Like, why do you want to be around these kids? Whereas with women, it's a natural role for them. So it's like, it makes sense and you trust them. Now, things still go left in certain situations. Like in high school, I don't know how many stories we've heard of high school teachers abusing kids, like, you know, sexually. So that's why homeschooling is, for me, is always the way forward. But yeah, anyway, the point I'm trying to make is women are nurturers, man. You play such a vital role in that. But I think these roles are being disregarded these days. All this other stuff, it's material, guys. I mean, there are some legitimate career pathways that you can undertake and find joy and pride in that, but I know this girl, she's got a fellowship in New York. She's from South Africa, where I'm from, and she's a doctor. She's developing this medicine for HIV. She's showing me all these videos of all the work she's doing, and she's been doing some work with rats as well, where she makes this synthetic tissue that can heal, can replace brain tissue. So it's like synthetic brain tissue. She implants it in the brain, and it heals the brain. So that piece will be synthetic, but it functions as brain tissue, and reestablishes neural pathways, and the rat can start, once those connections are reestablished, the signals can be emitted again, and then the rat can start walking. But that's the sort of work she's doing, which is great. It's very admirable. So you know, there's stuff like that you can, if that's your calling and whatnot, like that's what you feel called to do, then of course, by all means. I'm just saying, like, I think we're in the time where the traditional aspects of femininity are being looked down on, and you can't replace those roles. We need women who love family, love being in the home, taking care of the kids. It used to be that the kids were raised in the home and the mom would educate the kids and teach them all sorts of things about life and equip them. Now it's like we've allocated that job to the government, so it's like you send your kids to these schools, you send them to these institutions, and for 12 years, more than 12 years really, someone else is raising your kid. And we're seeing the effects of that, right? Even from a pure educational aspect, it's not efficient, because the issue with schools, traditional schools, if you're in a school of 30 people, one teacher, her attention is divided by like 30 people. She can't give you personal attention. And it's been observed that statistically, the kids that get that one-on-one time are more likely to do better going forward. Especially like in preschool, you're setting them up for a future of academic success. They learn faster, and everyone's different. That's the thing. Everyone is different. They learn in different ways, and they learn at different paces. So the school that pretty much treats kids like machinery, everyone is the same. They're robots and you can program them exactly the same, which you can't. It's no wonder that so many kids fall through the cracks and have a terrible experience with academics and can't fulfill their true potential. Whereas in a homeschool environment where your mom just focusing her attention on you, she knows you, she can isolate what you're good at and really draw out those strengths and bring out the best in you. And these homeschool communities, so they peer review each other. You can attend homeschool seminars where the different moms come together and they teach each other the tips and the tricks of homeschooling. And you can have tutors that can tutor your child in areas that you're not great in. So maths, if you're not great at maths, you can have someone tutor your child. If you're not great at science, so on and so forth. Like, there's so many different ways to approach it. But in these tutoring environments, it'd be like 10 kids. So it's not a lot. And the woman in that environment is can dedicate her attention to this very small group of people, so no one feels unattended to. And then these kids, they just perform better than these kids in these public schools, dude. This one lady was talking about how she'd been homeschooling her kid for some time. He was in the 2nd grade, right? And then because she was scared that she was depriving him of like a proper professional education, she was like, let me send him to like a proper school. She sent him to this private school and had him assessed. They were assessing his reading and his writing. No, his reading and his maths. And she was scared that after the evaluation was done, the results were going to be like, oh, you haven't been teaching him well and he's behind and he's deficient in this area and this area. She was scared that she'd been depriving him of a quality education. Turns out that he was a year ahead in maths, like he was advanced by a year. So they were like, we have to put him in a higher grade than the grade he's in. So he's in 2nd grade, so he was going to have to do 3rd grade maths. And in terms of his reading, he was 2 years ahead of his peers. That's, guys, big. And that's not because he's some genius, but because of the work she'd put in, and she knows him and she knows his strengths and weaknesses, and she catered her lessons to him and his specific needs. And as a result, he excelled at a rapid rate. And if you think about the public school system now and how it works, it does not do that. Everyone's treated exactly the same. I remember when I was in school and I was in maths and I was doing algebra and we got to functions, I felt so confused and I didn't understand, and I went to my teacher. I'm like, I'm really struggling here, and I feel like you guys are moving too quickly. And she was like, she dismissed me. I don't know what she said, but she just dismissed me. And then after that, my maths went down. Like I never recovered. Failed maths consistently after that point. If I'd been in a home environment with my mom teaching me, my mom is not. She's not very patient. No, she's very patient actually. What am I saying? I just remember coming to my mom for help with homework, and she wouldn't. Her way of teaching would be very confusing, so it never really helped. With her specifically, but she was also working very hard. She had her own job, and like, I think if she had more time, if that was just her primary focus, educating me, I think she would have been more effective at that job. And there could have been other alternatives. I could have gone to a tutor. I could have found websites. There's Khan Academy that is great at teaching maths, and it's very intuitive, and Khan Academy is great for teaching maths, and it provides all different sorts of pathways and methods to different sort of mathematical concepts. Anyway, if I'd just gotten the special attention I needed, I think I would have excelled in maths, but I didn't. So women have given up that responsibility in pursuit of corporate careers, and they're not happy. If you look at the happiness indexes of multiple countries, people are less happy now than ever before. You can talk about the past, and the past was this and all this oppression and yada yada yada. People are happier back then than they are now, because we live in a material age where our focus has become career, sex, money, all this meaningless stuff. We've abandoned God, we've abandoned family, we've abandoned all the things that matter. So, no wonder people are unhappy, So women definitely have a place in the world, and it's a very, very important place. You can't stress this. I just think the mistake a lot of ladies make is wanting what the men have. So it's like, you see in sports now, women being, women are better than men in sports, and we can do everything men can. You can't. Like, stop this. You're never gonna be a better man than other men as a woman. Like, it's never gonna happen. And like think about it in reverse. Imagine men trying to take the roles of women. Like, again, like the preschool example. Like, all these men going into these preschools trying to be nurturers, these kind, patient, nurturing individuals. Number one, the concept is just weird. I wouldn't want to send my kid to that environment, and it just wouldn't work. It just would not work. Biologically, we're not inclined towards that. And women have a emotional sensitivity that allows them. I've heard a lot of men talk about how they'll be with their wives in environments, and like, so an example this guy was talking about was like, he's in business and he'd bring his wife with him to events and stuff, and there'd be some person he's talking to, maybe he wants to establish a business relationship, and his wife would just get a keen sense like, I don't trust him. Don't associate yourself with him. And it should turn out, so he'll listen to it, and some news would come out about him, and it would turn out she was right. Women have this intuition that men don't have. That's also valuable. And And when it's integrated properly in a family structure, that's how you end up guiding society in the right direction, making decisions about your children and their future and all sorts of situations. That's how you build communities that function well, when women are working in these communities to build proper communities that are run well and good to be in and so on and so forth. But everything, when both men and women are out in the corporate world, just slaving away and letting the government take care of the kids. And that was the Nazi Germany tactic, get the father out of the home, get the mother out of the home, and get the kids into these schools so they can be indoctrinated with the Nazi ideology. And it's very important to get the women out as well, so women would get placed in all sorts of working positions. And it's working, And then they outlaw homeschooling as well. In Germany right now, to this day, homeschooling is banned. You're not allowed to homeschool your kids. It's the vestiges of this Nazi ideology. I think it came before the Nazis, but there was a fascist element to it, of indoctrination. What is his name? The Ficht. What is his name? The guy that devised this system. Johann Gottlieb Ficht. How do I say his middle name? Gottlieb. It's a Gottlib. Anyway, he had a quote. Education should aim at destroying free will so that after pupils are thus schooled, they will be incapable throughout the rest of their lives of thinking or acting otherwise than as their schoolmasters would have wished. This is a direct quote from the man, and he wasn't joking, he wasn't, the broader context wasn't, no, he was actually talking about, I've read more in terms of the context of this quote, and it was after Germany had lost to, was it Napoleon? They lost some sort of war, forgetting the details. And he was postulating the reasons for why they'd lost. And one of the reasons why is they'd lost their sense of national identity. In order to restore that, they needed to start instilling these ideas in schools. So they needed to restructure the education system and start imposing certain ideas and pull children out of homes. So it's like homeschooling not allowed. And also, like, literally turn children against their parents, because it doesn't make sense to try and indoctrinate kids in schools, but then they go home to their parents, who are the ultimate authorities in their lives, and then the parents undo all the work that was being done in school. So it's like, we also need to turn the children against their parents so that the government becomes their daddy ultimately, and your parents are just these people that feed you and clothe you. But you shouldn't listen to them, you should listen to us. Like, these are things he was saying himself, directly out of his own mouth. You can look it up. His name is Johann Gottlieb Ficht. So when people say that women don't have a role in society, when they question, it's like raising a generation in a responsible, healthy way so that we can have a civilization. Without women, there is no civilization. The men build and they fight for us, and they do this and they do that and all this important stuff, but it's like, it's yin and yang. You can't have one without the other. It does not work. There's balance. So we need traditional femininity to fight against stuff like this cycle, the stuff he's saying. But when you don't have that, then, well, society crumbles. It falls apart. But women have just abandoned these roles. They don't want them because they've been convinced that they should strive for what men have. It's like, you're not going to be happy because you're not men. Men are different. Our brains are different. Our desires are different. What we can handle is different. Our capabilities are just different. You're trying to fit yourself into a square peg when you're more of a circle. It's just, and men don't function well in your roles either. So yeah, it's important to say these things, man, because so many people are being led astray by these modern philosophies that are being disseminated into the public. It's very harmful stuff, and people end up depressed and lonely and not having a vision and purpose in their life. God, family, tradition, these are the things that sustain us and keep us sane, give us things to look forward to and be happy about. Having cute babies to play with and love and take care of. Having a partner to love you and be with you. Having friends, having family, having a community that's structured well, where everything is integrated well and functions well. But you start removing key pieces of the puzzle, then things fall apart. Things stop making sense. Anyway, those who have ears to hear are here. I definitely pissed someone off by saying these things, but you have to say them anyway. Hope you enjoyed that. I like to pray at the end of all my videos just to impart blessing and peace and all that good stuff. So, dear God, thank you for this individual watching this right now. Thank you for making them whole, unique, and blessing them with peace, purpose, prosperity. Thank you that you've blessed them with incredible people in their life who take care of them, who love them, and bring the best out of them. And that you're introducing new people who do the same thing. Thank you for blessing this person with a spirit of gratitude so they can wake up in the morning and give thanks for all they have and be happy and be content. And through giving thanks, they can attract even more blessings. So good health, long life, and happiness over this individual and everyone they care about. In my name I pray, in Jesus' name I pray.